Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode where we dive into topics that inspire growth and new possibilities. Today, we're talking about something exciting, turning your hobby into a source of income.
That's right. So many people have talents and passions that could actually make them money, but they never take that first step. Whether it's art, writing, gaming, photography, or even crafting, there are so many ways to turn what you love into something profitable.
And the best part, you don't need to quit your job or have a huge investment to get started. Many successful businesses today started as side projects or small passion projects. It's all about finding the right approach and staying consistent.
Exactly. But I think the first step is to ask yourself, what am I naturally good at? Or what do I love spending time on? Because when you enjoy what you do, you're more likely to stay committed, even when challenges come up.
And once you know what your passion is, the next step is figuring out if there's a demand for it. Are people willing to pay for it? Can you solve a problem or provide something unique?
Great point. For example, if you love photography, you could sell stock photos, do event photography, or even teach others how to take better pictures. If you love gaming, you could stream, create guides, or design game-related products.
Yes, and with the internet, there are so many platforms where you can monetize your passion. You can sell on Etsy, offer freelance services on Fiverr, start a YouTube channel, or even build a personal brand on social media.
And here's where a lot of people get stuck. They think they need to be experts before they start. But the truth is, you can learn as you go. The key is to start, improve along the way, and figure out what works best for you.
Exactly, it's about taking small steps. Maybe you start by offering your services for free to get experience, or you sell a few handmade products to test the market. Every step teaches you something valuable.
And once you start making a little money, reinvest it into growing your hobby turned business. Maybe that means getting better tools, taking a course, or upgrading your skills.
Yes, and don't forget marketing matters. It's not just about having a great product or skill, you need people to know about it. Social media, word of mouth, and networking can make a huge difference.
And let's be real, it won't always be easy. Some days, things might be slow, but the people who succeed are the ones who stay consistent and keep improving.
That's the mindset. If you love what you do and stay committed, you'll find ways to make it work. And who knows, your hobby could turn into a full-time career one day.
And speaking of mindset, let's talk about the importance of patience. A lot of people give up too soon because they expect instant success. But the truth is, most successful hobby-based businesses take time to grow.
Exactly. Think about it. If you're starting from scratch, it takes time to build an audience, gain trust, and refine your skills. The key is to enjoy the process rather than just focusing on the results.
Right. And one great way to stay motivated is to set small, achievable goals. Instead of thinking, I need to make a full-time income right away, start with something like, I'll sell my first product this month, or I'll reach 100 followers on my page.
Yes, and celebrate those small wins. Every sale, every positive review, and every bit of progress is proof that you're moving in the right direction.
And let's not forget about networking. Sometimes success comes from who you know, not just what you do. Connect with others in your field, join online communities, and don't be afraid to ask for advice.
That's a great point. Collaborations can also be a game changer. Maybe you partner with another creator, do a giveaway together, or exchange skills. Working with others can expose your work to a bigger audience.
And while we're on the topic, let's talk about pricing. A lot of people struggle with charging for their work, especially in the beginning. But remember, your time and effort have value.
Absolutely. It's okay to start with lower prices to gain experience, but don't undersell yourself forever. As you improve and build a reputation, gradually increase your rates.
And another thing, don't be afraid of failure. Not every idea will work, and that's okay. The key is to learn from your mistakes and keep adjusting.
Exactly. Every challenge is a lesson. Maybe you launched a product that didn't sell well, figure out why and improve it. Maybe a service didn't attract clients, tweak your marketing strategy.
And that's the beauty of turning your hobby into income. It's not just about making money, it's about growth, creativity, and doing something you love.
And the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities will come your way. You never know who might discover your work and offer you an amazing opportunity.
So if you're sitting on a hobby you love, take that first step. Start small, keep learning, and stay consistent. You never know where it might take you.
And one thing we haven't touched on yet is the power of storytelling. Whether you're selling art, writing, photography, or even handmade crafts, people connect with stories.
That's a great point. Think about why you started your hobby in the first place. What inspired you? What challenges did you face? Sharing your journey makes your work more relatable and valuable.
Yes, and this applies to social media too. Instead of just posting your work, share the process, the behind-the-scenes moments, and even the mistakes. People love authenticity, and that's what makes them want to support you.
And speaking of social media, let's talk about platforms. There are so many places where you can showcase your work: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Etsy, even LinkedIn, depending on your niche. The key is to find where your audience hangs out.
Exactly. If you love making videos, YouTube and TikTok might be great for you. If you're more into photography or aesthetics, Instagram and Pinterest could be better. Choose one or two platforms and be consistent.
And don't feel like you have to do everything at once. A lot of people get overwhelmed thinking they need a website, an email list, a YouTube channel, a blog all at the same time. Start small, focus on what works, and grow from there.
Right, and when you start gaining traction, think about how to scale. Maybe you begin with custom commissions, but later release digital products, courses, or subscriptions. There are so many ways to expand.
Yes, and one great way to scale is to turn your hobby into a passive income stream. If you're an artist, you could sell digital prints. If you're a writer, you could self-publish ebooks. If you're into fitness, you could create an online workout plan.
That's the dream, right? Having something that earns money while you sleep. But even passive income requires work up front. You have to create the product, market it, and build a system that works.
And let's talk about mindset again, because patience is everything. Some people quit too soon because they expect results overnight. But consistency always beats speed.
Yes, the key is to enjoy the process. If you truly love what you're doing, you won't mind putting in the effort, and eventually the money will follow.
Another thing, don't compare your journey to others. Social media can make it seem like everyone else is succeeding faster, but you don't see their struggles behind the scenes. Focus on your progress, not someone else's timeline.
And that's why community is so important. Surround yourself with like-minded people, join online groups, and support others in your field. Success is easier when you're not doing it alone.
That's a perfect way to put it. The more you engage with others, the more you learn, grow, and open yourself to new opportunities.
So if you're thinking about turning your hobby into income, just start. Take that first step, share your work, and keep building. You never know what could happen.
And here's another thing, don't be afraid to charge for your work. A lot of people hesitate when it comes to setting prices because they feel like they're not good enough yet. But if you're providing value, you deserve to be compensated.
Absolutely, and pricing can be tricky at first. But a good rule of thumb is to consider the time, effort, and materials that go into your work. Also, look at what others in your niche are charging and adjust accordingly.
Right. And don't underprice yourself just because you're starting out. People often associate higher prices with higher value. If you charged a little, potential customers might not take you seriously.
Exactly, and another thing, consider different income streams. If you love painting, don't just sell original pieces. You can create prints, license your artwork, or even offer painting tutorials.
Yes, diversifying is key. If one source of income slows down, you have others to back you up. That's why so many content creators sell digital products, offer memberships, or do brand collaborations.
And speaking of brand collaborations, that's another great way to monetize a hobby. If you build an engaged audience, brands in your niche might want to work with you.
Definitely, but make sure to work with brands that align with your values. Your audience trusts you, so only promote things you genuinely believe in.
And before we move on, let's touch on the importance of networking. Connecting with others in your industry can open so many doors.
Yes, join online communities, attend events, and engage with people doing similar things. Sometimes opportunities come from the least expected places.
And don't forget about storytelling, whether you're marketing yourself on social media or pitching to brands. The way you present your journey matters.
100%. Your story is unique, and that's what will make people remember you.
And let's talk about something really important: consistency. A lot of people get excited about turning their hobby into a business, but then they lose motivation after a few months when they don't see immediate results.
Right. And that's where patience comes in. Success doesn't happen overnight. Whether you're building an audience, perfecting your craft, or figuring out your pricing, it all takes time.
Exactly, and one way to stay consistent is by setting a schedule. Treat it like a real job, even if you're doing it as a side hustle at first. Set aside specific hours each week to work on it.
That's a great point. And don't just focus on creating, also spend time marketing. You could have the best product or skill in the world, but if no one knows about it, it won't grow into a business.
Yes, social media is a great tool for that. Find the platforms that work best for your niche and start building a presence. Share behind-the-scenes content, your creative process, and engage with people.
And don't feel like you need to be on every platform at once. It's better to be consistent on one or two platforms than to spread yourself too thin.
Exactly, and let's not forget about mindset. If you want to turn your hobby into a business, you need to start seeing yourself as an entrepreneur.
Yes, that shift in mindset makes a huge difference. When you start treating your work seriously, other people will too.
And remember, setbacks are part of the journey. Maybe your first product doesn't sell well, or a client backs out. Don't let that discourage you. Learn from it and keep going.
100%. The key is to keep learning and adapting. If something isn't working, tweak your approach instead of giving up.
And speaking of learning, invest in yourself. Take courses, read books, or find a mentor who's already doing what you want to do.
That's such an important tip. Learning from others can save you so much time and help you avoid common mistakes.
Absolutely. And one last thing, don't forget to enjoy the process. You started this because you love it, so keep that passion alive.
That's such a great point. If you lose sight of why you started, it can start to feel like just another job, and that's the last thing you want. Finding ways to keep that spark alive is crucial.
Exactly, and one way to do that is to celebrate small wins. Maybe you got your first sale, your first client, or even just a positive comment on your work. Acknowledge those moments. They keep you motivated.
Absolutely. And speaking of motivation, surrounding yourself with like-minded people can make a huge difference. If you're surrounded by people who don't believe in what you're doing, it's easy to start doubting yourself.
Right, whether it's an online community, a mastermind group, or just a few friends who support you, having that encouragement is so important.
And let's talk about something that a lot of people struggle with: pricing. When you turn a hobby into a business, it can be hard to put a price on your work, especially if you're not used to charging for it.
So true. A lot of people undervalue themselves at first, thinking, oh, I'm just doing this for fun. But if you're spending time and effort on it, you deserve to be compensated fairly.
Exactly. A good way to start is by researching your industry. See what others are charging for similar products or services, and don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth.
And don't forget to factor in all your costs. If you're selling a product, think about materials, packaging, and shipping. If it's a service, consider your time, skill level, and any tools you're using.
Great point. And as your business grows, your pricing should evolve too. You might start lower to attract customers, but once you build a reputation, you can adjust accordingly.
Definitely. And while we're on the topic of growth, let's talk about scaling. If your side hustle starts taking off, how do you handle that without burning out?
That's a big one. One way is to start automating or outsourcing tasks. If you're spending too much time on things like admin work, editing, or shipping, consider hiring help or using tools to streamline your process.
Yes, and batch working can also be a game changer. Instead of switching between different tasks all day, dedicate certain blocks of time to one thing. Maybe one day is for content creation, another for marketing, and so on.
That's smart. And as you grow, don't be afraid to reinvest in your business. Maybe that means upgrading your equipment, taking a course, or hiring a coach to guide you.
Absolutely. Growth isn't just about making more money, it's about improving your skills and your business as a whole.
And speaking of improvement, don't forget to ask for feedback. Whether it's from customers, clients, or even friends, constructive criticism can help you refine your work.
Yes, and don't take it personally. Feedback isn't about tearing you down, it's about helping you get better.
Exactly. The most successful people aren't the ones who never make mistakes, but the ones who learn from them and keep going.
And that's really the key, isn't it? Keep going, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself.
That's such a great mindset. When you treat every challenge as a learning opportunity, you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the process.
Exactly. And speaking of learning, another important part of growing your hobby into a business is staying updated with industry trends. No matter what your niche is, things change, new tools come out, new techniques emerge, and if you want to stay competitive, you have to keep evolving.
That's so true. Let's say you're a photographer, camera technology keeps advancing, editing software gets better, and styles shift. If you're in digital marketing, algorithms change all the time. Staying informed is key.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You can take an online course, follow industry leaders on social media, or even just set aside time every week to read up on what's new.
Right. And another game changer is networking. A lot of people think of networking as something for corporate jobs. But honestly, no matter what you do, connections can open doors.
Absolutely. Whether it's meeting potential clients, collaborators, or mentors, networking can help you grow in ways you wouldn't expect. And it doesn't have to be super formal sometimes. Just engaging with people in your field online or attending local meetups can lead to amazing opportunities.
Exactly. I know people who got their first big break just by putting themselves out there and talking to the right person at the right time.
And that leads us to another big lesson: don't be afraid to promote yourself. A lot of people struggle with this because they don't want to seem pushy or salesy. But if you don't talk about your work, how will people know about it?
Yes, self-promotion isn't about bragging, it's about letting people know you have something valuable to offer. Whether it's through social media, a portfolio website, or word of mouth, you have to put yourself out there.
And one way to do that effectively is through storytelling. Instead of just saying, "Hey, buy my product or hire me," share your journey. Talk about why you started, what inspires you, and how your work helps others. People connect with stories.
100%. People don't just buy products or services, they buy into the person behind them. That's why being authentic is so important.
Yes, and while we're on the topic of authenticity, let's talk about balancing personal branding with privacy. When you're building a business around something you love, it's easy to feel like you have to share everything, but it's okay to set boundaries.
That's a really good point. You can still be open and engaging without oversharing. Decide what parts of your life you're comfortable making public and what you'd rather keep private.
Exactly. And if you're growing an online presence, remember that not every post has to be personal. You can mix in educational content, behind-the-scenes moments, or insights about your craft without feeling like you're exposing too much.
That's such solid advice. And speaking of boundaries, let's talk about time management. Because when your hobby becomes your business, it can be hard to separate work and personal time.
Oh, absolutely. When you're passionate about something, it's tempting to work on it all the time. But burnout is real.
Yeah, and the irony is that burnout can actually make you start resenting something you once loved. That's why having a schedule, setting work hours, and knowing when to step away is so important.
100%. And don't forget to make time for other things you enjoy. Just because your hobby is now your job doesn't mean you can't have other hobbies. Having different creative outlets can keep you inspired and prevent you from feeling stuck.
That's such a great point. Sometimes stepping away for a bit actually helps you come back with fresh ideas and energy.
Yes, and another thing, don't compare your journey to others. It's so easy to look at someone who's further along and feel like you're behind, but everyone moves at their own pace.
That's huge. Social media especially can make it seem like everyone is succeeding overnight. But in reality, most people have been grinding for years behind the scenes.
Exactly. Focus on your progress, celebrate your wins, and trust your own path.
That's such an important reminder. Success isn't about speed, it's about consistency. The people who stick with it, who keep learning and adapting, are the ones who turn their hobbies into something sustainable.
Absolutely. And one last thing I want to add, don't be afraid to pivot. Sometimes, as you grow, you might realize that what you started with isn't what you want to continue doing, and that's okay.
That's so true. A lot of successful entrepreneurs started with one idea and ended up somewhere completely different. The key is to stay open to new opportunities and trust your instincts.
Yes, just because you started with one type of art, content, or business doesn't mean you have to stick with it forever. If something isn't working, or if you discover a new passion, allow yourself to evolve.
Exactly. Adaptability is everything. If you see an opportunity that excites you, go for it. That's part of the beauty of turning a hobby into a career. You get to shape your own path.
And at the end of the day, remember why you started. Passion is what fuels this journey, but to make it last, you also need patience, persistence, and a willingness to keep growing.
So, whether you're just starting out or already on your way, keep going. Stay curious, stay motivated, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
We hope this conversation gave you some insights and inspiration to turn your hobby into something bigger. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, we'd love to hear them.
Yes, let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow for more discussions like this.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.